So let's talk a little bit about depth of field. Now, depth of field is essentially how much you have in focus from front to back, from near to far. So a small depth of field would mean you have a blurry background, like on a portrait. A big depth of field would mean you have a sharp background, like on a landscape. You have a lot in focus. Now, there isn't enough time in this video to go into the intricacies of how the aperture affects depth of field. If you want a full explanation on that, I have a video posted on YouTube that's a free preview of one of my online courses where I talk about the aperture. Go ahead and check that out. It'll explain how the aperture affects depth of field. But one thing I can tell you in this video is that longer focal lengths, meaning more zoomed in, creates shallower depths of field. You get blurrier backgrounds if you're more zoomed in. Also, getting closer to your subject blurs the background more. So if you get closer or you zoom in more, you get blurrier backgrounds. So how does this pertain to digital crop sensor cameras and full frame cameras? Well, with a digital crop sensor camera, since the image is cropped, your lens won't need to be as zoomed in as on a full frame camera. And you won't need to be as close as on a full frame camera. So for example, if you're using a digital crop sensor camera and I'm using a full frame, and we're both photographing a portrait of someone, and we both want the same framing from about their waist to just above their head. Well, in order to get that framing on my full frame camera, I'm going to either have to get closer or I'm going to have to zoom in tighter. So if that's the case, and we're both using the same aperture, let's say we're both using f2.8, since I have to get closer or zoom in more, I get a blurrier background. So when it comes to getting shallow depths of field, full frame cameras win out over digital crop sensor cameras. You can get blurrier backgrounds more easily with full frame cameras simply because you have to use longer lenses and you have to get closer to your subject. Now that's an advantage if you like shallow depths of field. It's good for portraits and that kind of thing. But let's say you're into landscapes. Let's say you like getting everything in focus, or maybe architecture. You want everything sharp. Well, on a digital crop sensor camera, that's going to be easier to do. You won't have to close the aperture down as small on a digital crop sensor camera because you're going to be using wider angle lenses, which naturally give you a big depth of field, and you're not going to be as close, which naturally gives you a big depth of field. So when it comes to depth of field, neither one of these systems wins out. It all depends on what your priorities are. If you really want shallow depths of field, then full frame cameras win out. But if you want big depths of field, digital crop sensor wins out. So really, it just depends on what you're shooting, and it depends on what you want. Neither one wins in this round. Watch part 5 of this video series as we compare maximum ISO settings.